Hi, I'm Donya Jackson, and this is the Lackawanna County Black Business Spotlight Series. This program is part of LackawannaMarkets.com, an online initiative sponsored by Lackawanna County and Anthracite Events to support our local creatives and to help our artists and our businesses to thrive. Today we are spotlighting Dixon Candle and Bath, and here with me is owner of the business, Sonya Dixon. Hi, Sonya.
Hi, Donya. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm so glad to have you here today. You know, on the series, I ask every business owner to start the same way with their origin story. So tell me a little bit of how Dixon Candle and Bath came to be.
Through progression. It didn't start out as a business. Years ago, I want to say maybe about 16, 17, 18 years ago, I was always a fan of candles. I always lit candles. Most of them were unscented at the time though. And I gradually said, okay, I love the way that it lights up the room, it changes the energy. I started purchasing scented candles. And I became very unhappy with some of the products because it wasn't the same smell that you get. It's called a cold throw when the candle is not lit. The scent that it gives off is called a cold throw. Okay. But when you light it, it's called a hot throw. Okay. So they wouldn't mesh together. I would purchase it and then I'd get home and I would be slightly disappointed.
I can imagine. I've been there.
I was slightly disappointed. And eventually I said, hey, you know what? Maybe this is something I can do, you know? And it all started with a kit from the hobby store. Believe it or not.
I believe it.
A kit from the hobby store, and I got online. Back then we had dial-up internet.
Yes, we did.
We had dial-up internet, if you can believe it. That wasn't too fast. And I did some research and printed out a lot of paperwork and did some looking around for some suppliers. And I decided, okay, I'm going to try this. I'll try it small. I'll try a kit from the hobby store. Let's see how it goes. And I had the greatest time. It was so much fun creating and making something that I knew everybody in the family could enjoy. They always liked it when I lit the candles. So it just progressed from that point onward.
And this is 16 years in the making.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. What were some of the hurdles you faced along the way?
Some of the hurdles would definitely be taking it maybe from a hobby standpoint to a business standpoint. That was a challenge, trying to understand how to make that transition, where to, you know, as far as manufacturing advice, business resources, and stuff like that. That was a challenge. And also finding out more information in the market, what was available to me, being able to purchase stuff in such small quantities. How would I be able to do that and still maybe turn this into a business of some sorts? So there were some challenges with that, and trying to decide what model I was going to do. Was I going to do wholesale? Was I going to do home party planning? All those things come up to where you figure out, okay, you're gonna try to do it in person, or you're gonna sell online, all of these different options available. And it's hard without trying every single last one to know which one is the right one for you.
And it sounds a little bit like, it sounds a little exhausting, if I could be quite frank with you, just listening to all these hurdles. So, I mean, and it's a perfect segue into my next question. How did you overcome these hurdles? How did you make your decisions? How did you find resources? What were the resources?
Some of the resources were the Small Business Administration. I called and asked some questions. Also, some of the distributors of my supplies, I called and spoke to them, getting information, getting some ideas from friends and family, getting some input, just kind of gathering all the information that I could, and then try to make a decision based off of that. So it was a challenge. It was a challenge.
So I have to ask you again, another question that I ask everyone who comes onto the series. What do you think is your wow factor?
I think our wow factor would be our fragrances.
Tell me more.
I think our fragrances, we custom blend some of our fragrances just so that you can have something that's a little bit different. All of our fragrances are based off of drinks. So we have coffee fragrances, tea fragrances, wine, some cocktails.
Let's talk about it.
And some spirit fragrances.
Yes. Tell me the names of some of these if they come to mind.
Well, let's see. Southern Iced Tea has been doing very well.
Okay.
That's a really good popular one.
Is it a big summer one?
It is.
All year round?
I have been asking some people, you know, would they like to have certain things year round, or will it be seasonal? What I find is the ones that tend to be most popular tend to stay around for more than one season. That's another question I will have to ask my Instagram followers.
There you go, okay.
As I do value their opinion. And that's another hurdle, is trying to change with your customer base. The industry changes quite a bit. So trying to stay on top of that is a challenge in itself.
So talking about the hurdles and the customer base, you know, through the pandemic, different businesses had different challenges.
Right.
You are an online business, so do you feel like the past year, the pandemic period, did you see any changes in the business during that time?
I did. I was really on hiatus for a little bit because we were kind of reconstructing, and we've done so many different scents over the years. I wanted to do something a little different. We've done everything from apple pies, as you can see over there. That's a throwback. Those two apple pies are from, I believe, 2004, apple pie and strawberry.
So we have vintage on the table.
Yes, we have a throwback on a Friday. But so we tried all different kind of fragrances, and I thought I wanted to do something a little different, something that wasn't out there. That wasn't as common. So when the pandemic hit, it gave me a little bit of time to think about it and see, hey, what do people like? What are people into? I said, you're either a coffee or a tea person. Sometimes you're both. I said, in our house, we have tons and tons of teas, all different herbal teas. There is coffee for anyone who wants iced coffee. So that's kind of what gave me the idea to figure out what kind of new fragrances we were going to offer. Something a little bit for everyone.
So we have the Southern Iced Tea.
Yes.
Tell me another flavor. Tell me another scent.
The lime mint mojito is very big, and so is the sweet red sangria.
Okay.
Those are wine blends, fruit with fruit blends that people are a little bit familiar with the names. Even if you don't have any and you haven't had any in your real life, you can still enjoy the fragrance.
It smells so good in here right now. I kind of want to light a few, but I don't think we're allowed, so we will not, but I'm definitely taking a few of these with tonight, I'm telling you. So I have a slightly different question for you. What do you see your role as in the business community and in the Black community in Lackawanna County to be?
I think I would want my role to be one of inspiration and maybe mentorship. I think it's really important, especially for the young kids that are coming up, for them to realize that you can make a path for yourself, especially in the creative way. If you are skilled at something or you enjoy something, there's always a possibility for you to turn that into something more than just a hobby. You know, so maybe in the future sometime you'd be teaching classes how to make candles or how to make wax melts or those type of things. So that may be coming in the future. I'll see.
I believe it. I hope your reach is vast because I truly do believe it. So before we wrap up, I want to know, what do you want the viewers to know? What do you want them to take away from today about Dixon Candle and Bath?
That's a very good question.
Well, thank you.
I think I would want them to know that we put our customers first. We have some awesome customers. We have loyal customers. Everything we do is to give them a good experience with us. From our packaging to, we test our candles to make sure that the scent throw is to our liking, to make sure our jars burn 55 to 75 hours, provided you trim your wicks. And we do reward points. If you order online, there's reward points. We do giveaways. There's so many things that I really think the customers would enjoy. Even our packaging, we give a word searches or adult coloring pages, anything to promote relaxation and self-care. So I really think
phenomenal.
I think that's important.
Customer first. I think that is important too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Hi, I just want to give you a little bit of information about trimming your wicks. It's very important to trim the wick on all of your candles. We suggest to go down to about 1/4 of an inch. You can use a pair of scissors and just clip them like that, or a wick dipper. The importance of trimming your wick is to keep the candle flame low for safety reasons, which also extends the life of the candle. You do get more burn hours, and it also reduces smoke and soot, which is very important.